Hi guys, Lemmy here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at some items from a website called NEWCHIC.com. A bit of a disclaimer is that this website is not just art supplies. It has a whole bunch of different kinds of items on it. They have a lot of interesting looking clothes, a lot of really cool bags and different things like that, but they also have some art supplies that you can make art with, so that's what my review is going to kind of revolve around. I'm just really gonna kind of go through the items pretty quickly and tell you a little bit about what I think of each one. So the first one we're going to look at today is the fountain pen. The fountain pen is a Jinhao, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, X450, which I just think this pen is so awesome. It's heavy, I feel like I could club someone to death with it. It writes super smooth, it's really nice. It's a juicy pen, it comes with its own converter, so that you can fill it with whatever ink that you want to fill it with. I suggest that you do your research into what ink you put inside of your fountain pen because you don't want to clog it up, because some ink kind of creates sediment at the bottom and you have to mix it before you use it for art purposes, so you don't really want to use that ink in your fountain pen, so be a little bit careful about what you put inside. It does have a converter in it, so that's the mechanism that sucks up the ink. I actually did some research on this pen, and they're pretty inexpensive, and they're pretty nice. They have a lot of good reviews. I really super like this pen. It really has some weight to it, and it writes super smoothly and nicely. Wouldn't really recommend it for artwork purposes though. I definitely will be using this again to write, but not so much for art. Also, you don't really want to use it with other art supplies because you don't want to, because what I was doing was I was doing the line art. You'll see later on I talk about some color pencils, and I was going over the color pencils to make some line art. And I didn't really want to do that, but since the pen is so juicy, it would have taken a while for the lines to dry, and then I would have to do the colored pencil, and so I thought it would be easier just to, well, because I didn't really know the consistency of the colored pencils yet, which was my big mistake. I should have tried them first and then made an opinion whether to use it or not. But I wouldn't use it because I wouldn't want to damage the nib. So I really like this pen, and yeah, it's really heavy. Next up we have a traveler's notebook, and it's a Midori style notebook, so it's held together by two clasps, or two buttons rather, and inside there are these elastic bands that hold in these things called inserts. And this is a pretty standard notebook. I think this is passport sized, but these are my favorite, my absolute favorite sort of notebooks to use as sketchbooks because you can just take out and replace inserts, and some of them are blank pages, some of them have ruled lines so you can write, and some of them have grids. So what I like to do is use them for different sorts of projects, so I'll have like a bunch of these notebooks. So I got this just to share with you that I think maybe you would like something like this as well, because I adore it. The next notebook is not a Midori style notebook, but I got it because I recognized the characters on the cover as Earthbound characters, and I just couldn't leave it on the website. I'm like, I have to have this. Like, I see Ness and I see all these other characters like Mr. Saturn. I'm like, I gotta get this. I'm not so jazzed about the styling of this notebook because it's more like a book cover where you can kind of put in parts of the sides and then close it, so it doesn't really fit together as nicely as the Midori notebook does. But I was also just super jazzed just because of like the characters on it, and I thought it was really cute. I'll definitely be using this notebook. I was a little bit bummed out that it had gridded lines instead of blank pages, but you know, I guess beggars can't be choosers. But I plan on using this notebook and then getting a sketchbook, maybe trying it with like a spiral bound notebook and seeing if that fits better inside of there or not. I don't really know. But yeah, it also has some space so it can accommodate a larger book or like a thicker book. Not like the dimensions can be larger, but it can be thicker with more pages, which I really like. One thing they could have done to make this better is just find a way to fasten the notebook in there without it moving. Like a Midori style notebook will have those elastic bands, or maybe some sort of binder or something to keep the book in there. or something to close the book even, because the best I could figure out was just using a pencil in 2 of the pencil loops that's there, or the pen loops, or whatever you want to call it. I just wish that they kind of figured out a way to keep everything within it and to keep it closed, because then I would take it with me out and about. But because it doesn't have anything really keeping everything in there for sure, I'll just use this at home and keep it on my desk and use it as a planner or to keep notes and write things down, stuff like that. I love it. I think it's really cute. I'm just kind of disappointed that I can't use it on the go. Next up is the 10-win electric eraser, and this is originally what NEWCHIC contacted me to review, and I was kind of on the fence about it. Just figured it's such a inexpensive item on their website, why not send me a whole bunch of different items? Like, what if some kid doesn't have an interest in an electric eraser? You have so many other things, like let's do a whole bunch of different items in one video. But for some reason, they really want to just promote this electric eraser, so here we are with the 10-win electric eraser. This is my first time using an electric eraser, so I'm just going to tell you a bit about what I thought as a new user. I've never seen anyone else use them. I know that they exist, but this was my first impression. Oh, by the way, it doesn't come with batteries, so you need 2 AAA batteries. It comes with 10 refills, which is cool. So when I first used it, I pressed it firmly against the paper, and pretty much what it does is it buffs the paper. It just spins the eraser around in a circle pretty fast, and you rub that against the paper. And it doesn't work very well when you press very hard, which was what I was doing initially. I learned that you should press pretty lightly, and then it will clean the paper without causing so much vibration. And it was pretty intense with its vibrating, so that was kind of weird, and the whole time I used it, I couldn't stop laughing. I don't think that's normal that I would laugh like that so much, but I laughed for like a good 10 minutes. Another thing about it is that since it is essentially buffing at your paper, you need to keep track of how much of the eraser you're using because it goes down real quick, and what's holding the eraser into the machine is a metal clasp. And that still spins even if there's no eraser left. So what happens is you'll start pushing the metal into the paper, and that's what's spinning and cuts up your paper. So I'm also very unobservant, and I'm just trying to figure out what electric erasers do. So to me, I've tried it. I made like a really dark coat of graphite, and the eraser picked up most of it. It doesn't pick up more than any other eraser would, but it picks it up much more easily and much faster. And essentially, you don't need an electric eraser, but it just makes your life easier. It's not exactly easy to control, as I said though, because this eraser vibrates a lot, and very easily it can kind of run away with itself, because if you're going in the direction that it's leading with the spinning of the eraser, it can kind of like fly off on its own. You have to hold the paper down because it will just like toss the paper. I've never used an electric eraser before. I'm not a fan. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not a fan with an electric eraser because I feel like I don't have the control that I want to have when I erase something. However, if you, the viewer, are more observant than I am, which is probably like 100% true, you probably won't grind the metal into your paper, and it won't be an issue for you. I think this would be good for someone who takes a lot of math classes, writes in a notebook with pencil, and you want to quickly erase a large area or like an entire problem. This is really good because quickly the pencil eraser on the other side of your pencil will just deplete. This thing has 10 refills. It's very inexpensive, so I think this would be really good for schoolwork. I used it in the kind of doodle that I was drawing in this video here, and it did a really good job of removing the excess graphite. But still, if you press hard and if you're really getting it into that paper, the eraser is not going to be able to pick it up because it just removes the excess. So your paper will be stained from putting too much graphite on it. So it's not like a miracle eraser that's gonna work any better than anything else's, but I just figured I'll just be honest with you, and that's pretty much, you know, what's going on there. If you are very heavy-handed and you draw at a larger scale, this probably would work really well for you. But for someone who draws on a smaller scale and is a little bit more delicate, I don't really find a purpose for it. Next up is the set that says H&B on the pouch, which the pouch is really nice because it accommodates all of the items inside, and there's some extra kind of little sleeves. You can put extra pencils in there if you so want. This is pretty much everything you need to get started with pencil sketching, and it's kind of compact in a nice stiff, almost like a book form, and you can kind of just throw this in your backpack and take it with you on the go, and everything you would ever need is inside this little kind of like pencil case thing. It comes with 2 pencil sharpeners, a block eraser, and a kneaded eraser, a pencil extender that works on both sides so you can put 2 items into it, a razor or like a box cutter which has multiple tips to it, so whenever it gets kind of dull you can snap off one of the tips and then you have a sharp blade again. It also comes with a little pad of sandpaper, which is a way to not sharpen your pencils but just sharpen the point so you're not wasting your pencil. Oh my god, I think I'm dying. And then you have a whole bunch of sticks. So you have like 3 graphite sticks, 3 charcoal sticks of different softness and hardness. And then there's a set of graphite pencils and a set of charcoal pencils. I really like this set, especially if you don't have any supplies already. But I definitely think that the weakest items in the set are the erasers, and I'm a very picky eraser person. I definitely think that the electric eraser is like 5 million times better than the other 2 erasers in the set. The kneaded eraser, I spent like 8 years kneading it, and it was just... Okay, I have a kneaded eraser here by a different company, and that is like putting a fresh thing of gum in your mouth, right? It's like, you could chew it easy, it tastes good. That's what this other company is. But the H&B set here, it's like after you chewed gum for like 8 hours straight and it's like hard like a rock, that's the kind of kneaded eraser that you have there. And it just doesn't really pick anything up. And for some reason, the block eraser is sticky kind of to the touch, but I don't think it was supposed to be. So those erasers I really wasn't a fan of, and I would replace those 2 items in the set. For me, it's not a problem. I have like a bazillion erasers here, because I really like erasers. But for someone who doesn't have an eraser and being stuck with these, and you're out and you went to another country and now you're doing, I don't know, stuff on the go and plein air with your pencils, and then all of a sudden this is the eraser you have, it's not really a good situation. So I definitely recommend the electric eraser over these 2, or just replacing those 2 erasers in the set. As for the pencils, they did their job. Different hardnesses, some are like lighter, some are darker, some are deeper, some you get really thin lines, some you get really kind of like splayed out smudgy lines. It also comes with 3 smudgers if you like smudging things, which I'm never really a fan of it because I feel like I don't really know what I'm doing when I smudge stuff. So I did a lot of smudging in my doodle here, but everything worked really well. I don't really know super tons about pencils, to be honest with you. I think, like, I know the different hardnesses and softnesses and all that stuff of the lead, and I get that, but I don't think have tried tons of pencils to really know the difference between them, but these did their job the best that I know of. So, I mean, they're pencils, and, You know, nothing crazy amazing about the pencil itself, but they did what they're supposed to do. So that's my review of that. Speaking of pencils, we're moving on to the color pencils, which is definitely the weakest item of this set. I knew they were kids' pencils, but I had some money in the budget left over, and I figured let's toss it in the cart, see what they do. They are children's pencils, but the container is really cute, and it has a sharpener up top, which I just am in love with. I was like, oh my gosh, the sharpener is attached to the container! So I threw it in the cart. And I don't regret it. I mean, I kind of knew what I was signing up for, but they were pretty bad. I'm just gonna be honest here because they don't layer, like, at all. They have so much waxy filler and other things in them and no pigment that you lightly kind of just put some stuff down and then you try to lightly go over it with another pencil and it just won't stick. There's just nothing for it to stick to. It's done. You can maybe mix 2 colors and then the paper's like, I can't handle any more wax. This is over. So you'll see that the picture that I made is extremely light in color, and that's only because there's not much pigment in these and there's no layering. You can't get more pigment on there. It just won't stick. But I really like the container, and it's hard, like a hard kind of cardboard sort of like thing that you can toss in your bag, and I just really like the little container and whatever. We tried them, we gave them a chance. I would use these again for on-the-go colors because when I work in my sketchbook, sometimes I like to put a pop of color in the background around the character that I just drew to make interesting sketchbook pages or something like that. But I wouldn't do anything too crazy with these, and I certainly wouldn't use them for anything important. And last, but certainly not least, is one of my favorite items of this haul, and that is the bag that everything fits into. So this is a Sailor Moon styled bag, and on the website, like no website that uses characters that are from actual shows, like, you know, like, oh, Earthbound characters on that notebook. They said that they're cartoon characters. I don't really think that people know where the characters came from other than someone took it and used it on an item. But this is a Sailor Moon style bag. It's supposed to look like Luna, which is the black cat that Sailor Moon has. It has the little moon on her forehead and the cat ears on the bag. It has 4 little feet on which the bag sits so that the bag is never really touching the ground. It comes in 3 colors, black, gray, white, just like all the cats in the Sailor Moon show. So I think that the bag is really cute. It's sort of like Hot Topic quality bag. It's not gonna last forever, but while you have it, it's really adorable and really cute. And yeah, so I really like the bag. I think it's adorable. It can double as a backpack or a purse depending where you clip the straps to. There's also some little containers inside of the bag that you, like in zippers and things like that you can put things into. So I really like the bag. I think that's adorable. So after looking at all of the items here, which ones would I actually buy with my own money? Right? This is a sponsored video. I got all these items for free to just talk to you about them. If it were up to me, I would buy definitely the fountain pen. I love it, and I could club someone with it because it's super heavy and it just feels so good to write with. It just writes so smoothly, and you can put whatever ink you want in it, provided it's a proper ink. But what I'm saying is you can put whatever color ink you want in it. You know, I love the fountain pen. I love the Midori notebook, but I also have like 5 of them. If I didn't have 5 of them, I would have bought this one. But, I mean, realistically, I wouldn't have bought this notebook because I already have 5 of them. But if you don't have a Midori notebook, I recommend you get one because I love them. Anyway, so fountain pen, Midori, Traveler's Notebook style. It's not an official Midori notebook, but it's a styled notebook like that. That's why I'm using that reference there. Midori is like the official name of the official book of the fancy one, the original one, but this is like a knockoff sort of one. And the third item that I would buy would definitely be the Sailor Moon inspired bag that looks like Luna. And yeah, it's not gonna last forever, but I'm gonna have fun with it while it does last. I love buying kind of like little goofy bags that are from franchises and stuff like that. And I don't know, I would buy this. It's right up my alley. I have like a ton of tote bags, like with Pac-Man and Mario on them, and then like some other like anime bags. They have a Cardcaptor Sakura one, and like a Totoro one, and I don't know, I just have like all this sort of stuff. So this Sailor Moon bag, definitely I would buy it. Those are my 3 favorite items. And yeah, if you guys are interested in any of the items I reviewed today, there are links down in the description below. If you just want to check out their website, you can feel free to do that. Just click away and see what they have to offer. Like I said, they have much more than just art supplies. They have like a whole bunch of other things for like your home, for your office, for kitchen things, nail things, beauty things, clothes, bags, accessories, all that sort of stuff. So if you're interested, click below and check it out. I'm gonna get going. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you again in another art video. Take care of yourself. Bye.